One hen sounds wrong at dawn. You hear it before you see her. A click at the end of her breath, or a hen standing apart with her tail down, not eating. That is a sick chicken, and a chicken who can't breathe will not wait while you read the internet. The panic you feel in that moment is honest. It is also useless. It has never once healed a bird. Here is what the Amish do instead, and it takes about 60 seconds. They do not reach for a bottle. They do not reach for a phone, because down a lane with no phone line there is no vet truck coming anyway. They walk up to that hen and they read her. Comb, breath, crop, posture, 4 things in order, and by the end of it they know which of 3 roads they are standing on. One road says wait and support her. One road says fix it today, before dark. And one road says this is serious, and here is the honest thing to do about it. Most keepers never learn the read. They jump to the 3rd road in their own heads and terrify themselves. Or they jump to a bottle and lose 4 days finding out it was never the answer. 60 seconds, then you will know. If you keep birds, subscribe before we go on, because I would rather this read was already in your head the morning you need it, than something you go hunting for at 4 in the morning with a hen in your lap. Pick her up. That is the first thing, and most people skip it because a bird you can catch easily is already telling you something. A healthy hen is hard to catch. If she lets you walk up and lift her, write that down in your head. It counts. Now look. Start at the comb, because the comb is the only piece of a chicken's circulatory system she wears on the outside. On a laying hen in condition, it is full and bright red, and it stands up. Pale and shrunken is a flag, and it usually points at blood, something draining her at night, or a bird who has stopped eating long enough to run herself down. Purple or dusky, especially out at the tips, is a different flag and a more urgent one. That one is oxygen or circulation, and it belongs with the breathing you are about to listen for. And scabs or lumps on the comb are their own road entirely. We will get to that one because it looks the worst of anything in this video, and it is usually the mildest. Comb read 10 seconds. Now listen. Hold her against your chest, put your ear near her head and be quiet. A well hen breathes silently. You should hear nothing at all. A click, a soft tick at the end of each breath, is the earliest thing you will ever catch, and it is worth catching. A rattle wet like a straw in the bottom of a cup is further along. And a gasp, where she opens her beak and stretches her neck up to pull the air in, is the one that changes everything you do next. Breath read 15 seconds. Now feel. Your hand goes to the crop first, that soft pouch at the base of the neck on her right side. In the evening it should be full and yielding like a bean bag. In the morning before she has eaten it should be empty and flat. That morning empty rule is the whole test, and it takes 1 second. Then run your finger down her keel, the breastbone ridge down her chest. It should be padded on both sides. If it stands up like a blade under the skin, she has been losing condition for weeks, and this morning is not the beginning of anything. Then the vent underneath at the back. Clean, moist, working. Not pasted, not swollen, not stained. Feel read 20 seconds. Last, watch. Put her down, step back, and give her 15 seconds of your patience. Watch her tail. A hen holds her tail up. A sick hen drops it, and a hen in real trouble stands like a football on legs, tail down, head pulled in, eyes half closed. Watch her feet. Is she standing square or leaning? And watch where she goes. A hen who walks back into the flock and starts scratching just told you more than any test would. A hen who walks to a corner and faces the wall told you something too. That is the 60 seconds. Comb, breath, crop, posture. 4 reads and every one of them is free. Now the 3 roads. Road 1 starts with the thing that frightens people the most. You walk out one morning and your hen's comb has gone wrong. Gray and yellow lumps along the edge. Scabs like warts, some dark, some crusted, sometimes spreading down onto her wattles and around her eyes. It looks like something rotting on a living bird. Every year, keepers see that and assume the worst thing they can imagine. Here is the honest answer. That is almost always dry fowl pox. And dry fowl pox is the mildest problem in this entire video. It is a virus. It travels between birds, mostly on mosquitoes, which is why it shows up at the warm, wet end of summer, and why it tends to arrive in the same few weeks every year on the same farm. It runs its course in about 2 to 4 weeks. The scabs come up, they darken, they crust, and they fall away. The great majority of birds recover completely and come out the other side immune to it for life. There is no cure for it. I want to be plain about that because it matters for what comes next. There is nothing you can buy that shortens a virus. What you can do is carry her while she does the work. Clean water she can reach without pushing through a crowd. Feed she can get to. Shade. And as few mosquitoes as you can manage. If a scab sits near an eye and starts to close it, that bird needs to be somewhere she can find her food and her water without competing for them. That is the whole of it. Which brings me to the toothpaste. If you look this up, someone will tell you to dab toothpaste on the scabs. Someone else will swear by iodine or petroleum jelly or a dozen other things off a bathroom shelf. And here is the part I want you to hear kindly, because the people passing these on are not liars. They tried it. 2 weeks later, their bird was fine. They are reporting exactly what they saw. But watch what happened there. Fowl pox clears on its own in 2 to 4 weeks. Any remedy applied on day 1 gets the credit for a recovery that was coming anyway. That is not a bad person telling a story. That is what a self-limiting illness does to anyone honest enough to keep records, but not suspicious enough to keep a bird back and not treat her. Every folk cure on earth that treats something which heals itself has a perfect record. So no, do not put toothpaste on your hen, not because it is foolish, because it does nothing, and while you are busy doing it, you are not doing the one thing that actually matters, which is watching whether this is the dry kind at all. Because there is a wet kind, and I will not soften it. Wet pox grows the same lesions inside the mouth and the throat, instead of out on the comb. That is a bird who can get blocked. Yellow, cheesy plaques inside the beak, trouble swallowing and breathing that gets worse instead of better across days, is not a wait and watch situation. That is a bird who needs real help. Dry pox on the outside. Time, water, patience 2 to 4 weeks. Lesions inside the mouth, or a bird going downhill. That is a different road, and it is the one at the end of this video. Road 2 is the good road. It is the one most people miss because these are problems that look like illness and are actually mechanics. Something is stuck or something is feeding on her. You can fix them today. Some of them you can fix before you finish your coffee. Start with the crop because you already checked it. You felt that pouch at the base of her neck this morning, and it was not empty. That is your signal, and it is why the morning empty rule is worth more than any thermometer on any shelf. A crop that is still full at first light did not empty overnight, and everything a chicken eats has to pass through that pouch to get anywhere at all. So feel it again, and feel what kind of full it is. Firm and hard like a ball of dough that will not give is one thing. That is usually a bird who has been eating long, tough grass or bedding, or the dry ends of hay, and it is bound up in there. Soft and squashy and swollen, with a smell to her breath when you hold her near your face, is a different thing entirely. What you do about it is less dramatic than the internet suggests. You take the feed away for a stretch, and you leave her the water. You give her the chance to move it herself, and most of the time she does. You get her off long fibrous bedding and long grass, and you put grit in front of her, because a bird without grit is a mill without a stone, and she cannot break anything down. What you do not do is start tipping a hen upside down because you read it somewhere. A bird held head down with a full crop can breathe that crop in. I have never once seen that end well. Next, parasites. If her comb was pale and she is thin, and she is fine all day and quiet all night, take a light out to the coop after dark and look at her. Not the bird in your hand at noon, the bird on the roost at midnight. And look at the roost bar itself, at the ends of it in the joints under the tape. That is where the ones that drain her live during the daylight. A bird can look perfectly healthy at noon and be losing blood every single night. Pale comb, plus dropping weight, plus a hen who does not want to go into her own coop at dusk, is that story almost every time. It is a whole video on its own, and I have made it. The short version: check at night, treat the house, not just the bird, and keep a dust bath open where she can do half the job herself. And the third one in this bucket is a hen who is straining. A bird sitting, pushing, tail pumping, walking like a penguin, in and out of the nest box all day with nothing to show for it. That is a bird trying to pass an egg and struggling, and it is time-sensitive in a way that pox never is. Warmth, quiet, a dark box, moisture, and calcium in her long-term feed, so the muscle that has to push has something to push with. There is a whole video on that one too, and it is the one I would go watch tonight if this is your bird. Crop, parasites, straining. 3 problems that wear the costume of illness and are not illness at all, and every one of them has something you can do today. Now the road nobody wants. Road 3 is breathing. I want to give credit where it is due first, because there is a video a great many of you have already seen. A keeper finds a hen in a nest box, an Australorp, and at first he thinks she is only trying to lay. Then he listens, and he can hear it, and he says out loud that she is struggling to breathe. And the very next thing he does is the right thing. He separates her out. He gets her somewhere warm, gets water into her, gets feed in front of her, and he does the whole of it calmly, with his boys helping him. That instinct, isolate first, is correct. It is the same instinct the Amish have. And if you keep Australorps yourself, you may remember I have talked about that breed before. They are hardy birds, which is part of why it stings when one of them goes down. But watch what happens in that video over the days that follow, because he is honest enough to film all of it. He goes to a bottle early, a warmed remedy mixed into her water day after day, and on day 5 he says it himself on camera. She is still really struggling, and he is not seeing a lot of improvement. I am not telling you that to be unkind. I am telling you because that man filmed the exact thing that every product on that shelf is designed to make sure you never see, and then he left it in. That is worth more than 100 success stories. The bottle was not the answer. The isolation and the warmth and the water and the time were doing the actual work. So here is the Amish order, and the order is the point. Isolate first. Not because she is dangerous, but because breathing trouble that spreads is a different problem than breathing trouble that does not, and you cannot tell which one you have while she is standing in the middle of the flock. A hospital pen. Somewhere warm, dry, out of the wind, where you can see what she eats, what she drinks, and what comes out of her. Warmth second. A bird fighting anything at all is burning fuel to stay warm before she burns any on getting well. Take that job off her. Water third. And water is the one that actually moves the needle. A bird that stops drinking is on a clock. Electrolytes in the water at the rate on the packet, right there where she cannot miss it. And give her company if you can. A single hen alone in a box is a stressed hen. Put a quiet flockmate where she can see her. And know what the turn looks like, because that same keeper caught it, and it is the best moment in his whole video. Weeks later, his hen laid an egg. That is the signal. A hen does not spend herself on an egg while she is still fighting something. When the laying comes back, she is back. Watch for the egg. Now the honest part, which almost nobody says out loud. One hen sneezing once on a cold morning, with a bright comb and a full crop and an appetite, is not a flock emergency. Do not tear your coop apart over one sneeze. But a bird gasping, beak open, neck stretching up to pull the air in. Getting worse instead of better across days. And now a second bird doing the same thing. That is a different animal altogether. That is where you stop treating a bird and start protecting a flock. Nothing new comes onto your place. Nothing leaves it. You do the sick pen last in the same boots every time, and you keep it that way until it is over. And here is the sentence I owe you, and I am not going to dress it up. When a bird has been going backwards for days, when she cannot breathe and she cannot eat and there is no floor under her anywhere, that is when a vet or a hard decision made by you is the kind thing, not the failure, the kind thing. Every keeper who has kept birds long enough has stood in a barn at dusk and made that call. And the ones who made it a day too late are the ones who still think about it. No hero cures on this channel, just the truth about what helps and what does not. Now I will tell you why you almost never see an Amish keeper doing any of this. Not because they know a remedy that you do not, because the triage is rare. There is a floor under that flock, and the floor is built out of 4 boring things. A dry coop is not the same job as a clean coop, and people confuse the two. Damp litter is where the trouble breeds, and a coop that smells sharp when you open the door in the morning has been telling you something all week. Air, this is the one that kills birds by kindness. Every autumn somebody closes the coop up tight to keep the cold out and seals the moisture in along with it, and every bird in there breathes that all night long. Chickens handle cold far better than they handle wet air. High vents, above the roost, open all winter, with no draft blowing across the birds. That is the entire rule, and I have a video on why it matters more than insulation ever will. Water, clean, liquid and reachable by the bird at the bottom of the pecking order, not just the one at the top. A great deal of what looks like a sick hen in July is a hen who could not get a drink. And dust, a dust bath that stays dry under cover all year round, because that is a hen doing her own parasite control for free every day without you. Dry air, water, dust, that is the floor. And then there is the minute. Every morning when you open that door, before you do anything else, you stand still and you count. Count the birds. Look at the combs, all of them at once, and let the pale one jump out at you. Listen to the sound of the house and know what your own coop sounds like when it is well, so that a click on the far side of it catches your ear. And watch who comes out last. 60 seconds, that is the whole system. Not 60 seconds of treatment. 60 seconds of attention every single morning, so that on the day something is wrong, you catch it on the morning it starts, instead of the morning it is bad. Because every road in this video is easier on day 1. Fowl pox on day 1 is a shrug and 2 weeks of patience. Fowl pox on day 14 with a bird who has stopped eating is a different bird. A crop caught this morning is a fast. A crop caught next week is a crisis. Breathing caught at the click is a hen in a warm box. Breathing caught at the gasp is the conversation at the end of Road 3. The Amish are not better at healing chickens. They are better at looking at them. That is the whole secret. It is free and you can start tomorrow at first light. So tomorrow, do the minute. Then come back here and tell me what you found. If this was worth your time, subscribe, because I put one of these out every week, and the next one will be waiting when you need it. And if there is a bird on your mind right now, the one on the roost at midnight and the one on the hen who is straining are both on the screen in a moment. Take care of your bird.